What is up, mages? It is I, your wintry neighborhood Winterspelll. I welcome you back to another episode of Kingdoms of Amalur: Fatesworn. So we're going to make sure our sound is working. I hope to God it is. It might work. I don't know. There we go. It might work. I don't know. Okay, good, good. It looks like our sound is working. I have not been... I have not been back on the PS4 for streaming in a little bit. So let's get this going. So we are here in... Where in the jinkies are we? We're in the plains of Arethel. In the Cradle of Summer, we need to awaken the Windstones. Just gotta figure out where those are. We're trying to get at the general. That's all bunched up. And I see over here. Oh! Trying to remember the combat. Ah, Kiva, I'm glad you could join us. I know, it's on the PS4, not a card this time. And I do want to apologize. I did not stream the full tournament like I usually like to on Saturday. I do apologize for that. Turns out there was a Comic-Con, so not a lot of people showed up. So it was Zane, and there was a couple of kids there. I decided not to stream the matches against the kids because they were young enough that I'm like, maybe let's not put the minors on the internet. Especially without their parents' permission, so... I did decide not to stream those matches. Although I did place second. It was pretty cool. Did pretty well. You know, you saw that I lost against Zane because he was using a fast-paced electric deck, which is super effective against my Quaquavel deck. Another kid was using Ampharos and Morpeko, and the other one, I think, was using the Chin Pao deck. Still ended up being a decent tournament. We just kind of... We kind of had to teach the kids how to play Pokemon, but, you know, we were okay with that. And, you know, we helped them with their decks. And I got my hands on a Rainbow Full Art Candace. And you know, Kiva, I can always count on you to, you know, be there to watch my streams and try to catch up on things you've missed. I really appreciate that. It really does make me happy knowing someone actually wants to watch my channel. Because it can be difficult, you know. You feel like people aren't interested. You know, I see my views not going up. I don't get a lot of views. I see my subscribers not going up very fast. It gets discouraging. But there's always people who do want to watch. And I appreciate that. I've been told before my cousin actually likes to watch. He likes the videos I give a lot of lore on. So he'll watch like my Fallout videos, he'll watch my Skyrim videos, because those are two universes he really appreciates. So, you know, that makes me happy. I bet you guys were hoping I was going to stream Baldur's Gate and Starfield. Yeah, I was hoping for that too. Yeah, they're not on my systems. I don't know if I've seen these guys before. Interesting. Alright, find these blasted windstones. There's one. Wonder if these might be new enemies they added. I'm hoping so. I did actually get a subscriber. Gentleman came into my store, and he thought my voice was great, so I gave him my channel name. Ah, more Niskaru. Blow up! Tee! That is fun doing that. Alright, next one. I do think of it. I'm sorry, I am a little, little off right now. Just holding up a gallon of water, just drinking it. On top of spaghetti! Alright, let's fast travel here. I do try to have a good voice. I don't like a lot of things about myself, but I do like my voice. I'm very proud of it. I think it's a good voice. Can't say much about my face, but I like my voice. Honestly, yeah, a lot of streamers don't. Like, there's a lot of... There's even a few people I like to watch that I don't think have, like, the best voice for it. But you know who has, like, an amazing voice? For any of you that really love Elder Scrolls lore, hop over to Fudge Muppet. Their resident daedrologist, Drew, he's got a great voice. I love listening to him on Fudge Muppet and on his own channel of Drew Mora. He's just got such a soothing voice for storytelling. And hello to a brook! I believe I know which brook that is. I am fairly certain I know which brook that is. Yeah, Fudge Muppet is great. I absolutely love them. They have fantastic lore. Camelworks is another really good one. I knew it was that brook. Yeah, Camelworks is great. Fudge Muppet, Drew Mora. You guys already know how I feel about the Epic Nate 315. Recently, I've been watching some of Vardy videos as well, and Master Neloth, which turned out got some pretty good lore. And Neloth is a fun character anyway. He calls his viewers hirelings of House Telvanni. For those who may remember, because I'm pretty sure we've done the Dragonborn questline in our... Neloth is the master wizard from House Telvanni that the Dragonborn does receive help from, and a black book as well, and we do go into the Dwarven Ruin with him. Neloth was also a major player in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. And there is actually a quest, I believe, because the Nerevarine does join a great house. So you may have to kill Neloth for a quest, although that is not technically canon, even though it's in a game. Okay, here's how it works. So the things that are canon in the Elder Scrolls universe for the different heroes, like the Champion of Cyrodiil, the Last Dragonborn, the Nerevarine, the Vestige, the things that are canon, like officially canon, would be main quest lines. So, for example, it is officially canon that the Last Dragonborn stopped Alduin and... Oh. Huh. So it is officially canon that the last Dragonborn stopped Alduin and, you know, helped restart the Blades, things like that. However, it is not officially canon that the last Dragonborn became the harbinger of the Companions, or killed the Emperor Titus Mede II, or became the Archmage of the College of Winterhold. While those events themselves are canon, so no matter what, it appears that the Emperor will have been killed. Somebody became the new, the new Archmage. You know, someone became the new Harbinger and released the souls of the Companions. That stuff is all canon, but it doesn't necessarily mean the Dragonborn himself did it. It just means somebody did. Now, the reason it's set up like this is to protect the player's personal... Excuse me, burping. Protect the player's personal canon. So let's say in my playthrough, I became the Harbinger, but in your playthrough, you became the Archmage. Both happened in our personal canon. But it doesn't mean that the last Dragonborn themselves did it. For example, it's canon that the Nerevarine stopped Dagoth but it's not canon that they joined the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild. I think I'm making sense. If I'm not, just tell me. Okay, so Kiva, I'll pause the game here. I'll talk about this. The Blades. Here is my stance on the Blades. The whole controversy with it is some players going on and on how horrible the Blades are, some of them loving the Blades. Here's my stance, and I will explain it. I like the Blades themselves. The Blades as an organization. So because I played Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, where the Blades actually play a heavy part, because the Blades are who you go to see after the Emperor is murdered. You talk to Joffrey, the current headmaster. He sends you to find Martin Septim. And then they bring him to Cloud Ruler Temple outside of Bruma, and they protect him. So you work with the Blades throughout the main quest line. And I also know the history of the Blades, and how it got started in the Second Empire with Riemann Cyrodiil. The Blades as an organization I appreciate because they are the protectors of the Emperor, specifically the Dragonborn Emperor. They are a fantastic organization that is built on the love of the Dragonborn, of Talos himself, and they are good and honorable people. However, the current iteration of the Blades, at least in Skyrim, because you have to remember, we only see Skyrim in the 4th era. We haven't seen any of the other provinces so far. So we haven't seen if there are perhaps more sections of the Blades still around. We've only seen Delphine. So the sect of the Blades that is quote-unquote led by Delphine, them I don't like. Esbern I can get behind. The dude knows his stuff. He is part of the reason we're able to defeat Alduin with his knowledge, and he actually is useful. He's good. He's a good man. Delphine I do not like. She is a bitter, twisted person who has let her hatred become her only reason for existing. And she acts like she is a grandmaster. She is hypocritical. She says, oh yeah, we serve the Dragonborn. And she doesn't know her own organization's lore. She doesn't understand what the Blades really are. She's like, yeah, we're a bunch of dragon hunters, and we serve the Dragonborn because he's the best dragon hunter. No. They serve the Dragonborn emperors of the Cyrodiilic Empire. Dragon slaying is something they've done, but it is not the reason for their order existing. Their order exists to serve the current Dragonborn, whether it be an emperor or someone like the last Dragonborn. They are dedicated to that dragon blood. I mean, the Blades themselves got started because Riemann Cyrodiil, who was a Dragonborn, he shouted in front of the Sayesi. The Sayesi are snake people from the lost continent of Akavir. They invaded Tamriel when Riemann Cyrodiil was alive, and when he shouted at them, and by shouted, of course, I mean the Thu'um, the voice, Fus Ro Dah! When he shouted at him, they recognized him as Dragonborn, and they stopped their invasion and decided to serve him. And that is actually the origin of the Blades. They were originally Sayesi, who formed an organization to protect Riemann Cyrodiil and his descendants and the Dragonborn emperors of the Cyrodiilic Empire. And actually, when Riemann Cyrodiil's line died out, but the Second Empire did not die out at that time, the Sayesi actually became the potentates, sort of like the Elder Council, who ruled the empire before a new emperor could be set up after the death of Martin Septim. They kind of became the protectors and ruling council of the Riemann Empire, and honestly, they were a big deal. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to them in the current Fourth Era. By the time that we're there in the Tiber Septim Empire, they appear to be gone. There may still be Sayesi in Tamriel, I do not know, but I do know there are Sayesi in Akavir, according to what we are being told by Bethesda itself. At least there were Sayesi when Uriel Septim the Fifth? Yes, the Fifth invaded Akavir, which you can read about at the Disaster of Ionith and other in-game books, I believe. And thank you. I really do enjoy learning about the Elder Scrolls universe. Lore is something I'm really interested in, and the Elder Scrolls universe does so well at writing their lore. I honestly can't get enough of it. They've written up thousands of years of history for their game series, and it's absolutely incredible. I mean, especially learning about the Dawn and Merethic eras. I absolutely love that. I love hearing about the different religions of the different people, the people themselves, and don't worry, you are not distracting. So, to sum it up then, the Blades themselves as an organization are good. They are a fantastic faction, and they are a really important part of Tamrielic history. The current iteration of the Skyrim Blades, supposedly led by Delphine, although I don't know who made her boss, they are not good. They have decided that they are only dragon slayers. They have kind of abandoned what they are supposed to stand for. Out of one side of their mouth, they say they serve the Dragonborn, but out of the other side of their mouth, they say, hey, you're going to do what we say, or screw you, we're never going to speak to you again. Do not kill Parthenax, by the way. So yeah, Delphine is horrible. Everyone hates Delphine. Esbern is redeemable. He just needs to get his head out of his butt a little bit and realize, hey, not everything is so black and white. But it's also understandable considering the trauma they've gone through after the Great War and what the Thalmor have done to them. So I'm not going to on the Blades that we meet for their attitude about it. However, quite honestly, Delphine is not fit to lead. She is a bitter, broken person, and the Blades, at least in Skyrim, because again, we have not seen the other provinces, the Blades that we meet in Skyrim are a very, very pale shadow of their former selves and the absolute glory that the faction had. Like, if you see the Blades in Oblivion, which, you know, I just beat the main quest of Oblivion today. I had hooked up my Xbox 360 and I was playing through it. The Blades have fallen far. Again, it's only been 20 years since the Great War. They got absolutely destroyed, and the Thalmor have made it their mission to wipe them out. especially since they are an order that reveres Talos. But the blades as they are now that we have seen is really nothing to write home about. So yeah, I like the blades, I just do not like Delphine's blades. And quite honestly, somebody just needs to stab her. I think that's a very, very fair thing to say. I'm really hoping that in Elder Scrolls 6, they will restore the blades. And I really hope that they'll get the respect and honestly just the storytelling they deserve. Because the blades really are cool. I really hope that they get the redemption that they need. And I really hope that someone puts Delphine in her place. Now, we don't know how long from where Skyrim is. We don't know how long in the future Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be. We have gotten word that we should have it by 2030. Or I think they said like 2028 or so. I'm hoping. So we don't know what they're going to do with it, but hopefully they, like I said, hopefully they give the blades what they deserve. Because they really did them dirty in Skyrim. And I didn't know this because I played Skyrim before I played Oblivion. But once I played Oblivion and I saw what the blades were supposed to be, and then I saw what they did to them, honestly, whoever did the writing for the blades in Skyrim, I appreciate what they did with them because it makes sense for where we are. But it hurt to see the blades like that. It hurt. I'm really glad you've played Oblivion, Akiva. I actually found I have Morrowind on my 360. I've been trying to play through some of that. It is difficult. It is a learning curve. And there's a lot of things different. Combat system's a little clunky. But it's interesting so far. And I really do love the setting for Morrowind. It's just so alien. Although having no quest markers is quite difficult to deal with. Winterspell-like quest markers.
The twins did reave the land as brother upon brother warred. Scythes to swords, from rock to shore, the people madly weapons.
But yeah, no, I do know a lot about lore. I really do. Especially since at my job, I am allowed to, as long as I'm not doing this while I'm speaking to customers,